Hey everybody, this is Jim. I'm standing in front of my Airstream trailer. It's a 30-foot Flying Cloud. It has tandem axles. It's time to get new tires. The current tires are Goodyear Endurance. This is going to be my third set of tires on this particular trailer. It came originally with the Goodyear Marathon tires. I had a blowout on the way to Santa Fe, New Mexico on Interstate 40. And at that time, the tires the Marathons had maybe 30,000 miles on them. And I just decided to replace all of the tires at that time. When the tires blew out, we did some damage to the trailer. You can see the trim piece is kind of beat up, and the lower panels got some dents due to that tire tread flapping around and hitting it. Now when that tire blew out, it did damage, as I showed you, and I did not have any tire pressure monitoring system at that time. So when I replaced the tires, I also added a tire pressure monitoring system, and I'll show you how that attaches. Now over here is the front shock absorber. Looking at the tread wear, the measured tread depth is down at 3/32 of an inch. And I'm getting good wear side to side. It's pretty even. I'm pretty happy with that on this tire. Now this tire had some unusual wear on it. One of the things that I noticed on this tire was, I'm going to call it tire chunking, where you can see right in here. There, but there's some other places around the tire up here where the tire appears to be just thrown out chunks of rubber. What I noticed was this shock absorber here had some oil leaking out of it. The second thing is, when we look around the circumference, you get some areas with a lot of wear. Like right here, you can barely see that sipe in the tire, and then here it's pretty good. So, and then again it gets less and so forth. So around the circumference we're getting some odd wear, and I think that's due to the shock absorber that was leaking. At the time of the blowout, I drove on to Santa Fe, put my spare tire on, continued on my trip, and in Santa Fe I stopped at Discount Tire, and the new Goodyear Marathons had just come out. I really like the Marathons. They're made in the USA. They have a higher load range than the original tire. So, and they have a higher maximum speed rating. You can drive these at up to 85 miles an hour versus a standard trailer tire, an ST type tire. Most brands, including the Goodyear Marathon, are limited to about 65 miles per hour. So I got 4 Marathons, and I also added in a tire pressure monitoring system. Let me show you that. So the tire pressure monitoring system consists of 4 of these little sensors that you put on the end of your valve stems. Now, if you think about all the things that can go wrong with tires, we've got the tire pressure, so tire pressure monitor takes care of that. You got tires that can go out of balance, and so what I do is I run a Centromatic wheel balancer behind every wheel. So I've got 4 of those on the Airstream. And then you have punctures, and again the tire pressure monitor can help you with that. The only thing I've found that now you have to look out for is if you take your wheel bearings out or your hubs off to inspect your brakes and you don't get that wheel bearing torqued back on, that wheel is going to have a little bit of wobble in it, and that will wear your tires out. And I have worn tires out that way, and they go really fast, like 3,000–4,000 miles, bang, your tire is done. Normally I expect to get about 50,000 miles out of a trailer tire the way I tow. 62 to 65 miles an hour, check the air pressure before I leave on every trip, and then continuously monitor that during the trip. Now I mentioned I buy my tires at Discount Tire. Why Discount? They usually have what I need in stock. I don't have to wait for it. Their prices are good, and because they're a nationwide chain, everywhere I've been in the U.S., I'm always driving by a discount tire store, and they have really good customer service and warranty coverage. So I usually buy the tire certificate when I get a discount tire, and when I've had a problem in the past, it was very easy to get a replacement tire, either free or at some nominal cost. So let me summarize a couple of things. First of all, you need to inspect your tires and your shocks at least once a year. I look at my tires after every trip, and a typical trip for me might be about 3,000 miles, and I do about 3 of those in a year, so I'm averaging around 10,000 miles a year. But I measure the tread depth after every trip, and then I plot that versus mileage. And on the chart you saw, you can kind of watch the tread depth go down. As it gets to 3/32 of an inch of depth remaining, it's time for me to replace tires. The other thing you can look at on your tires is, I noticed as my tires wore down, you can start to see little chunks coming out of the rubber of the tires. That's another indication that maybe your tire is near end of life. A final indication is at 5 years, some people say 6 years, you just want to replace your tire because they're beginning to lose that the essential oils and lubricants in the tire material itself that allow it to keep flexing, and you'll start to see cracks. Once you see cracks, you're open to a blowout. I like the Goodyear Endurance tire because of the higher speed rating, the higher load rating, and I can adjust the inflation to match my load, and I don't have to worry about going to max inflation because that's what my old Marathon tire needed. It needed at least 65 pounds to hold up my trailer. This tire can hold up the trailer with about 52 pounds or so. So running a little bit lower pressure, I like to run at about 60. Gives me a smoother ride in the trailer, and I don't have as many popped rivets or things bouncing around in the trailer. I hope this video helps you maintain your tires so that you have long and uneventful trips in your RV and you get the most mileage you can out of every set of tires you buy. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.